Well, hello guys. So The Boys has finally ended and people didn't like it much. So let's talk about it. The Boys was a great show with a great cast, story and themes. It was one of the best takes on the superhero genre. It was a fun story with deep messages. It had themes like religious dogmatism, modernization, racism, the deconstruction of indoctrination, revenge, morality and many more. The main reason why The Boys was so famous is because it was a different take on the superhero genre which showed how insignificant human life would be in a world of superheroes. We saw superheroes killing many people behind the camera, showing no remorse, but they were still loved by many because of the celebrity culture, manipulation, indoctrination and more. Now we followed the group called The Boys, who wanted to take revenge on these superheroes and kill every one of them. Homelander, being the strongest guy, was the most difficult man for them to take down. Homelander was the strongest person on earth and nobody would be able to fight him. And that's what made him a great threat, which was taken away in the finale. The only leverage they had over Homelander was that he was a narcissist and wanted to be liked by people. And this was what made him an entertaining villain. He was this evil menace who couldn't stand anyone not following or admiring him, but at the same time he wanted people to love him as he lacked that in childhood. Now the main leader of the boys group was Butcher. Now Butcher wasn't a hero and was actually pretty much like a villain. He was not as bad as Homelander or Soldier Boy but still bad. He had no value for lives of other people and used them as tools to achieve his goal. The rest of the team though Yui, Starlight, Frenchie and Kimiko presented the good side. People who were against Homelander but who also wouldn't kill other people in the process. Revenge wasn't their only goal, and Starlight was the leader of the good side or the good soups. She led the movement against Homelander from season 4 and replaced Butcher as his main rival. People who hated Homelander were also called Starlighters. Now the whole show was about the boys finding a way to take down Homelander and the Seven. The thing about the finale that disappointed people was how easy it was to take down Homelander. They spent 5 seasons finding a way to defeat Homelander. They hyped him up to the point where it seemed impossible to take him down, but at the end it was just a 2-minute fight scene. There was a time when Soldier Boy, Butcher and Yui couldn't hold him down, but now only Butcher and Ryan were able to hold him back. This fight in the season 3 was much better than the final fight. The end of season 3 was where it started going downhill. At the end of season 3, Maeve could have just taken Ryan away and Soldier Boy and Butcher could have taken down Homelander. Butcher and Maeve suddenly joining hands with Homelander to attack Soldier Boy seemed unrealistic. It didn't make any sense. Homelander should have died there. And after that, the writer stopped caring about the show. He just turned it into a political parody show and started advocating for his political party. One more disappointing thing about the ending was Annie. From the start, Annie was shown to be the real good soup. She led the good side of the show and was presented as the real hero of the show. Butcher was the rival to Homelander, but even he wasn't good either. He was not just as bad as Homelander and was on the good side. While Annie was presented as this real hero who wouldn't blow off random innocent civilians to kill Homelander. Haters of Homelander were even labeled as Starlighters in the show. But at the end her character was completely wasted. She didn't even help in the final fight and she flew away to fight Deep. And her trying to change Deep, the person who raped her, was also very uncomfortable. Her character arc was the most disappointing part of the show. She did nothing but remain depressed. Her helping in the final fight against Homelander would have made much more sense. And then Homelander losing would have been much more believable. Even her power upgrade at the end of season 4 didn't mean anything. The problem was not that Homelander was defeated. The problem was how he was defeated. He was hyped up for 5 seasons as the strongest guy and impossible to defeat. But he was defeated by just 2 characters who weren't even as strong or fast as him. They could have at least had a season 3 level fight scenes. Those were much better. And Homelander's death scene, I don't know if narcissists act like that. A narcissist would rather die than appear weak, but anyways. Even the Soldier Boy plot was sidelined. Season 5 Soldier Boy was really different from Season 3 Soldier Boy. But anyways, the fact is that he was still alive by the end and him not appearing in the last episode was disappointing. He was one of the main villains and he was still out there by the end, ready to be used by what? Butcher's death was good. It was always teased that Butcher would go on a rampage killing every soup and he needed to be stopped. And at the end Yui killed him. And even Butcher let him kill him as he knew he was wrong. Yui killed Butcher because he was wrong, but also to save his friends and his lover Annie. This death was the best death scene in the series, very poetic and complex. Though I do think that Butcher could have developed and lived a normal life after this. I don't know if it was important to kill him, but it's fine. Kimiko's ending was also very emotional as Frenchie died and she adopted a dog just like they planned to. Ryan going with was also good as it represents how both are better than Soldier Boy and Homelander. Couldn't take his revenge on Soldier Boy and Vought though. At the end we saw Yui denying being the leader at Vought, which was also very stupid. I mean, Vought was still out there by the end, ready to make new soups and even use Soldier Boy again. There are many side plots that didn't get resolved. But even after all the problems, this ending was nowhere near as bad as Game of Thrones. The ending of The Boys was not bad, it's just that how that ending was achieved was bad. But this was how it was supposed to end. In Game of Thrones, it wasn't just the way ending was achieved, it was just stupid. Dany going evil made no sense. You just have to remove that whole plot point and make a new one. Her becoming queen and ruling by the end would have still been fine. So this ending was still better than Game of Thrones, but yes, we could say that it felt like Stranger Things ending, where the villain who was hyped up for 5 seasons was defeated too easily. Still, I won't call this ending bad, it was average. It's still better than Stranger Things and Game of Thrones ending. Nothing can be as bad as Game of Thrones ending except Attack on Titan ending. So that was it for today. Tell me your thoughts in the comments.